What if everything scientists said about a dead, lifeless land was completely wrong? One man proved it, and what he created will blow your mind. Picture a stretch of land so dead, so dry, so hopeless that scientists looked at it and said the same thing. Nothing will ever grow here. No trees, no animals, no future. Just sand and heat and silence. Now, picture one man standing in the middle of that emptiness, holding a single sapling and deciding to plant it anyway. Not because anyone told him it would work, not because he had money or a team or a plan, just because he believed something that everyone else had given up on. This is the story of a man named Jadav Payeng from the state of Assam in northeastern India. And the place he chose to fight for was not a lush valley or a green hillside. It was a barren sandbar, a long, flat island of sand sitting in the middle of the Brahmaputra River. Every year, the monsoon floods would wash over it, leaving behind nothing but silt and gravel. Birds did not land there. Insects did not crawl there. The land was so empty that even local fishermen avoided it. Scientists and government officials had written it off completely. To them, it was a dead zone, a place where life had no chance. But Jadav Payeng saw something different. He first came to this sandbar as a young man in 1979, after a flood left behind hundreds of dead snakes, washed up and rotting on the hot sand with nowhere to hide, nowhere to survive. That image stayed with him. He could not stop thinking about it. And so he made a decision that most people would call crazy. He decided to plant trees on that sandbar. Not a few trees, not a small patch. He decided to grow an entire forest. He started alone. Every single day, he carried seeds and saplings to the island. He planted them by hand. He watered them. He protected them from the sun, from the floods, from animals that might eat them. There was no irrigation system, no greenhouse, no team of volunteers. Just one man, his hands, and an unshakable belief that the land could come back to life. Year after year, he returned. The first trees struggled. Many of them died, but some survived, and those survivors changed everything. As the first trees took root, something remarkable began to happen. The soil started to hold water. Insects arrived. Birds followed. The shade from the growing trees cooled the ground, and suddenly, the sandbar was not so hostile anymore. Jadav kept planting, bamboo first, then native trees like arjun, eucalyptus, and silk cotton. Each new species made the land a little richer, a little more alive. The forest began to spread, slowly at first, then faster, like a heartbeat gaining strength. And then the animals came. Not just birds and insects, but large, powerful creatures that no one expected. Elephants wandered into the forest and started returning year after year. Bengal tigers found prey and shelter among the trees. Indian rhinoceroses, one of the most endangered animals on Earth, began using the forest as a safe corridor between larger habitats. Deer, rabbits, monkeys, and countless species of birds filled the canopy. A place that scientists had declared lifeless was now bursting with biodiversity. Today, the forest Jadav Payeng created covers over 550 hectares. That is larger than Central Park in New York City. It has its own ecosystem, its own water sources, its own food chains. It absorbs carbon, prevents erosion, and protects nearby villages from flooding. Ecologists who once dismissed the sandbar now study it as a living example of what rewilding can achieve. But perhaps the most powerful part of the story is not the size of the forest or the number of species it shelters. It is the fact that it should not exist. Every expert, every textbook, every piece of conventional wisdom said it was impossible. And one man proved them all wrong, not with technology or funding or political power, but with patience, persistence, and an unshakable refusal to accept that a piece of land was beyond saving. Jadav Payeng's forest stands as a reminder that the natural world is more resilient than we think, and that sometimes the most powerful force in conservation is not a government policy or a scientific breakthrough. It is a single person who decides to act when everyone else has walked away. His story challenges us to look at the places we have given up on, the problems we have labeled impossible, and ask ourselves what might happen if we simply refuse to stop trying. Because sometimes the difference between a wasteland and a forest is just one person who believed it could be otherwise. One person's quiet persistence turned barren land into a living forest, proving that hope can grow anywhere. If this inspired you, subscribe and share your thoughts below, and we'll see you in the next story.